First Gen Wealth, we talk about an entrepreneur's journey to creating wealth. I've got a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of peers that they're brought up with money and the ability to handle and figure that out. Finding dollars has always been easy. Finding a deal, making money, I can do that. What to do with it to make it continue to earn so we do have that generational wealth, that's the missing piece. We want our money that we've earned through blood, sweat, and tears to now go to work for us. So that money is making money while we're sleeping. All right, welcome to First Gen Wealth. I'm your host, Randy Woodworth. This is episode 2 of season 2. This is a continuation of our earlier podcast from last week. We haven't moved. We're still here. I took my coat off.
Your coat off.
I took my coat off. I was getting a little fired up, Jim. I get passionate about what we do, you know, and what I'm really passionate about is other people doing it too, right? So I started to talk about coming to the defense in the fact that we are not, involved with some of the shenanigans that we were talking about. We're not business owners, landlords involved in real estate leasing on any of that stuff, but I'm connected, whether I even know them or not.
Right.
I'm connected, and I want there to be a little bit of a conversation change, a paradigm shift on how the general public, and we're not going to do that in this podcast, but we can affect our small little corner. I hope. I want the conversation to be one of like admiration. Not that I need it, but I'm talking about the people I want to work with, the people that we're talking to on this podcast that we want to encourage to break out of the mold, to do something for themselves, to make that extra money through real estate investment, and they shouldn't have to be scorned for doing so. By taking care of their business, their real estate business. They shouldn't be something that happens, but it does. And so let's start changing that conversation a little bit about, the risk takers, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that just aren't going to do it. And that's fine. Like, you're happy with your job. You're happy with your life, the way it's going, just, very steady Eddie paycheck. Don't have to take any risk. There's plenty of people like that. Fine. That's great. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I don't judge you. That's fine.
Right.
But there's plenty of other people that see something else and they're not comfortable in that and they want to break out. And that is scary. It's a risk financially. It's a risk publicly. It's a risk for your time, because that's the most important asset. And that's what we're all trying to achieve, is creating more time. And we do that by investment and creating more money for ourselves to be able to have more time for our families and whatever we want to do. So how would you, I guess, and I'm putting you on a spot here, bro, but what would you say to a group of people who are typically going to hate on somebody for breaking out of that mold? And it's weird. It's weird, but you see it.
Yeah.
And when I say hate, it comes in a lot of forms. Oh, you shouldn't do that.
Or I would do it this way.
Oh yeah. You
should do this.
You should. Yeah. You should do this. So, and it's not, and honestly, these people don't, I say it's hate. I say it's hating, but what we're really talking about is, they probably care for that person and don't want him to get hurt, and they're afraid themselves. That's the reality.
Yeah.
I think they're afraid to do it, so they're afraid for that person. What do you think?
Well, I think it's very hard to do, but just becoming comfortable being uncomfortable. And owning a business is constant uncomfortable. I heard the saying, owning a business is a lot like being pregnant.
I wouldn't know.
You don't know how many times you've been fucked, but the end result's there. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, you beep that out, Tony. But it's really hard at times, and you get screwed over, and then the end result's there. Then you find success. And so you really have to be comfortable being uncomfortable and keeping that end goal at the forefront. You have to whether you create this, dream board, vision board, whatever it is, like it's got to be at your forefront because you can't lose sight of what you started or why you started to do it, whether it was, you want to put your kid through college or you want to buy that second home or pay off your mortgage or whatever financial goals you have, or just the freedom of, I own my own business. I can now be flexible with my schedule. I can go to my kids' sports games. I can go on vacation. I can, have more control over my time. So whatever it is, you have to keep that at the forefront at all times. And it's easy to lose sight of that when things are hard.
Yeah.
Because you start thinking of, well, I should have done this or I should have done that. Or you start listening to these people.
The voices get louder.
The voices get louder. Well, you're not open in the evening because, that's been a thing lately. Like to create more foot traffic downtown, you need to be open later. Well, people have tried that time and time again, and the foot traffic's just not there. So
right.
It's easy to say that, but it's harder to do it, or it's a losing. It's a losing proposition for a lot of people, for a lot of businesses.
Yeah, so I think you're right there. Like that, keeping the why, right? My why is it's got to be solid. I need to know why I'm doing this. I need to know why I'm breaking out. I need to know what my end goal is, or at least a picture of what I'm trying to achieve, so that all that noise can just be like water on a duck's back. Now, sometimes you might get dragged into it. It's very hard not to. But just know, like, there's plenty of people that support you. And I think the biggest thing is, and I say this, I've said it, a dozen times on the last season of podcast, was you always find what you're looking for, right? So as you're looking through your entrepreneurial journey, if you're looking to go out and invest, if you're looking to take that first leap and you start looking for people to talk you out of it, you'll find them pretty quickly. Oh, yeah. If you start looking for people to encourage you, you've got one right here. And you've got one right across the table from me here with my brother. And there's plenty of people out here that have done it successfully that will absolutely encourage you. So you'll find what you're looking for. But I was kind of thinking on that downtown like foot traffic thing, right? And everybody's got here's what we need and here's what you should do. One of the biggest things I think that we're trying to focus in on over the course of the next couple of years, why I don't know. We're just a glutton for punishment, but that's apartments downtown. And, we've been getting a lot of slack. Jim and I own the Fifth Third building together. And real quick, Reader's Digest version of the history on why it's still sitting there and why it still looks like it does. And for those of you that aren't in our market that are listening, it's an historical building. We wanted to add apartments, I think 12 now.
12 apartments.
12 apartments. So with that, it's like a $3.9 million investment. You'd have to get like $2,500, $3,000 a month for apartment rent, to cover that expense. That makes 0 sense. So what are we doing? We're going through the grant process. But it's been sitting with a very ugly looking facade for a long time. And there's a reason, right? So when we first took it on, the historic district, we needed part of our grant process was a historic tax credit. Well, they wanted us to remove that paneling that was on the exterior. And we're like, we don't even know if they're going to say yes or what they're going to say. They just want us to take it off. And then what?
Right. And then they could say no. And then we're stuck with whatever was underneath. We had really no idea what was underneath at that time.
Right. And so we made the decision to not take it off.
Forgot about that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we weren't going to remove it. It's like, let's just find a different way to get this project done. Well, then what happened?
Well, I was walking around town. This is when I lived downtown, and I see that part of the building had fallen. And my first reaction, oh crap, we got to get this cleaned up because we have to be able to take care of this ourselves. We can't this is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Those were 60-pound marble panels. If it were, luckily, the farmer's market was the next day. It could have literally killed somebody.
It literally killed somebody. So we deemed it unsafe. Everybody, we didn't even have to talk to anybody. Yeah. No, the city didn't have to come in and tell us to do anything. We just, at that point, all right, this is obviously unsafe. The Historic Preservation Office wanted us to remove it anyway. Let's take it off. We're saving lives out here, people.
Yeah, right.
So then, right, we do that. Well, how long does it take for them to come out and inspect it and get back our answers and COVID and you name it, right? Like that process has gone on forever.
Yeah, it's been 3 years, yeah.
Then there was a change in the state historic office, right? So the one guy we were talking to is not the guy we're talking to anymore. Long story short, we're like going to the board at the state housing or the MFS board.
Yeah. Through the MEDC.
The MEDC board in December for hopeful approval and maybe next summer. Maybe
that's the plan. Yeah,
that's the plan. So we're going to start. Like, trust me, we want this done. Like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like, I don't want.
I tell people like, what are you going to do with that? When's this going to happen? I'm like, hey man, you are more than welcome to purchase it off our hands. We will sell it to you.
One of you foreign investors.
I'm waiting for one of those out of country investors.
Please, yeah. Like, what the hell?
We'll sell it.
There's no buyers.
We'd also love to see it get done too.
Absolutely, like it's going to happen. So with that, we're going to do those apartments and having that foot traffic. Get back to my original point that I went down this sidetrack on, but it's important. A lot of people want to know. They know now. So that's what's up. Questions, call me.
Yeah. So, but that's the best way we know how to increase foot traffic is to put more people downtown every single day.
Yeah.
If they're living downtown, they're here. They'll shop here. They'll dine here. They'll do different things.
And that's where I was going with that was like, we have to get those grants in order to sustain a project like that because we can't get $3,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment downtown. You just can't do it.
$700 a month is greedy as it is. So.
That's what I hear.
That Fifth Third project is really a spearhead for other projects on that same block. 100%. So the building right behind it is ready to start 3 apartments, possibly 5 apartments in that building, as long as the Fifth Third gets done, because
we need that elevator.
We need the elevator, and we've designed it in such a way that elevator would be able to service the building just to the west of it. Well, to build an elevator for just that building, you can't justify 5 apartments in that building. So that project needs to happen. So you're talking about 12 in that one, but it'll immediately become 17.
17. Yeah, 16,
so
17.
Up to 17. So
which is awesome. I mean, you think about that being, minimum of 1 person, but maybe 2 in a lot of cases in those apartments. That's a significant amount. I did the math on this a while back. Let me see if I can remember. I think it was a total of 100, or no, it was 50 because I figured 100 people. So 50 apartments, and I just times it by 2. The national average is 2.5 people per household. So if you just take the half away and use 2, so 50 apartments is 100 people times expendable income, right? It's like over 10 years, $1 billion circulates through the downtown just by 50 apartments. So that's pretty significant. Yeah. Now that's $1 billion. That doesn't mean it's all going to go into, the chocolate shop or the shoe store or whatever. But it's here it wouldn't otherwise be
and
here.
The money that's here tends to stay more local.
Oh, those stats are crazy. Yeah. A downtown dollar will go around 7 times before it's gone. Whereas you go to Walmart, it's gone.
It's gone immediately.
It's gone immediately. So the foot traffic is huge, and that's a big deal. So again, I just want to make sure there's a lot of upside, right? Like, especially if you're forward thinking. What I want to drill down is like, don't expect to be rich like 12 months from your real estate investment journey. Like, that's crazy to think that. Like, I guess you can fall into something that's a home run like that, but it's not the norm. It's not realistic. It's another job. It's another business. And as you go through that journey, just understand that it's going to come with some outside chatter. And you've already rose above the mold. You've already broken your mold. You've already started your journey. So you're already on a path that most people won't take. So don't start listening to people that will never take it. That should be a t-shirt. I'm going to say it again because I liked it, if I can get it right. You're already on a path that most people won't take. So don't start listening to people that will never take it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of the Teddy Roosevelt quote, the man in the arena. I encourage people to read that, look it up. It talks exactly about that. Like, you are the person that's actually doing don't take stock in the critic that's sitting on the sidelines talking about what you're doing and why you should do it this way or that way. Like, screw that guy.
Do you know that Teddy Roosevelt got shot and then did a campaign speech an hour later?
I did. I just watched a documentary on him.
I saw it on the internet. Yeah. It must be true.
Yeah, right. I think it is true. Yeah, he.
The Rough Rider, man. Yeah. That guy.
The Man in the Arena. Look it up if you've never read it. It's a pretty cool.
And what he's talking about is ancient Rome and the gladiators that were there battling, and why would he listen to advice from somebody who never had the balls to go down there and do that himself? Right. So it is a great quote, and we're not doing it justice because it's like,
that's what I'm saying. Go look it up and read it. Like if you Google Man in the Arena,
then, cut that out right now. Like, I'm butchering the crap out of this thing. So, all right. So, let me check the old stopwatch here, Jimbo.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while here.
Yeah, we have, because this is actually a two-parter. We're into the second episode, but we've only been going for about 15 minutes on this episode. It feels like a long time because we've been sitting here for an hour. So let's get back to what we're really about here. And that is encouraging people to take the step and become an investor in real estate. That's what we know. So that's what we talk about. There's plenty of other things you can do, whether it's business ownership, day trading. I don't know. So don't ask. What I do know is real estate. I know it's a path to wealth. It isn't an easy path and it's not a quick path, but it's something that anyone can do. So that's why we talk about it. That's what we do. So I'm grinding. Like, when I learned how to drive, I was 15 years old, and it was a Chevy pickup. And I grinded some gears. So I have no problem doing that. So I'm fully shifting in a different direction, because I want to talk about quickly, since you're, the owner of Success Group Mortgage, you live and thrive on interest rates. We are in a point in time right now that banks are really, really starting to pull back. I have a deal up in Bay City area, and when I started that deal in June of 2022, I was like super encouraged. There was all these bankers that were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do it. This is gonna be great. Wonderful thing you're doing for the community." Fast forward a year later, when I actually need the money, everything's changed. It's an office product. It's more mixed use, but they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I think what we're seeing in the deal markets right now, in the equity markets, there's a couple of things. Number one, interest rates are high in comparison to what they've been recently. I think historically they're fine. I think this is where they're going to be for a long time. I think there's got to be some resetting and pricing in the marketplace, and some guidance, and some just a little bit of an attitude adjustment. But that coupled with, in my arena anyway, there's a lot going on globally that's got some, there's some uncertainty in the markets. There's like $250 million in CMBS debt that's coming due like right now. Banks are doing workouts because people aren't back to work. There's office product that's vacant. So there's like, I'm getting a little discouraged trying to get a loan on this building, and I may go private equity on this thing, which sucks. And it's going to be like a 10% rate, maybe 11. So you think 7.5, 7.75, 8.25 is bad. I'm going to be at like probably 11. But I was smart. I bought right. We did work. We got tenants in there. I'll be able to. It'll support it. But it's not what I wanted, and it's not what I expected.
You can always raise rent on the tenants.
Refer to last episode. Jack them up. No, in case in point, in that deal, and where we always try to be is the lowest renter, or the lowest.
You want to attract good people and good businesses, so you want to be really competitive.
We want to be extremely competitive, and we are in that marketplace up there in Bay City. So what are you seeing on the housing side? I assume it's slowed way down.
Well, it's only slowed down because of inventory. We have plenty of buyers that'll go out and be willing and able to purchase a house at 8%. And that's where...
That was my first loan, 8.5, 1999.
So
I was 20.
Traditional, conventional financing, like you are looking at pushing upwards of 8%. I've seen some lenders north of 8, depending on the credit score and how much down and that kind of stuff. So we're at 8%.
Yeah.
Plus or minus a tad, we're at
Call it
8%. And we have still plenty of buyers that'll go out and buy a house today. There's just no houses to buy. And the really sad thing about it though is I just talked to the borrower this morning. We had them pre-approved like a year and a half ago. They were looking in the 150 range based on, we want to make sure we keep our payment at or below X. And great news, they've been saving money. They got a pay raise. They now can afford X amount per month. Well, instead of looking at 150, now you got to look at 125.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I have more money. I have a better job, but I have to buy a smaller house.
Yeah. So that's just the reality.
Yep.
The problem is, go try to find a house for $125,000 in Shiawassee County.
Yeah.
There might be 3 or 4 that are like ready to sell today, and they're all going to be gone tomorrow. So, but we have tons of clients.
It's still a great time to sell a house.
Well, it's still a great time to buy a house. Because,
I agree.
So if you can get in and you can afford it, buy it. Because if rates stay at this level or even increase, you've locked in your housing expense for the next
Everybody
15
needs
to
a
30
box
years.
to live in. Everybody needs a live.
And you've locked it in. So if rates and inflation continue to be a problem, then you beat the market.
Yep.
You're locked in. If they happen to come down, that's an opportunity for refinance, save some money that way. So if you can afford it, if you're in the market to buy, you have to go buy now. It only is getting more expensive. If you look at the history of housing, like I hear people say all the time, I'm going to wait until housing prices aren't so high. They're not high. They are what they are.
Yeah.
And next year they're going to be what they are, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
So you got to buy it. And if you can do it, you want to try to get in right now. And I've been saying that for the last 5 or 6 years. It's not going to change.
Right.
Back in 2008, 2009, new construction completely stopped. Families continue, family sizes continue to grow. People continue to have kids. Our population's bigger. We have fewer houses for those people to live in. It's not going to change. Those same people I talked about, they're living with their parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's they
should be buying.
They want to.
There's just nothing there.
And they wanted to last year. And it's just been a struggle with inventory.
Why aren't they building?
Well, that's a whole nother. There's
you're
a whole
not going
other
to build
animal.
for 125,000.
You're not going to build, and then your rates on new construction is even higher.
Yeah.
So it's hard to build right now.
Well, it's like $225 a square foot to build a house.
Okay, so
that's crazy.
So that only magnifies and multiplies the problem because we're still not building enough homes for what's needed,
which is 100 to 200.
So
yeah.
I think rates will. I don't think they're going to be this way for a long time. I do think we're going to see some relief sometime in 2024.
So that move that a local guy did, he's got that 5-unit townhome situation up the block here. He condoed it out.
Yep.
That might be the move. If you've got apartment buildings, condo them out so somebody can actually own their thing, own their box. I don't know.
I'm
asking.
Yeah, it could be a thing. I'm not.
Would you finance it?
We would finance a condo. Yeah, we wouldn't whatever. We would finance a condo if it's less than four units or less. It's super easy to finance.
Okay.
If it's 5 or more, it gets a little more tricky.
So should we look at condoing some of the downtown upper floors?
Well, no, I don't think so because it's a one-time. Yeah, we sell it. I think there's a future for that, but initially, I don't think you're going to get as much just because of the cost to build. I don't think you're going to get enough to make it worth your while as an owner.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I guess
we should pencil that out.
Yeah, we can.
Because if you could pre-sell something, you know what I mean?
Well, maybe it makes your performer look a lot better too. But it's a whole different animal. But I think that I think it's
because we want to make money and solve problems.
Yeah. Well, I looked at it when I built the 3 apartments above the old Radio Shack building. Yeah. We talked about that because we lived in half of that building, and we're like, we need to condo this out. Well, to make it worth our while, you'd have to sell those units for way higher than what the market, you know what I mean? For a condo in downtown Owasso.
The first ever condo.
Right. So it's like, okay, can you really justify this 1-bedroom, 1-bath house selling for 250,
grand?
280.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, okay.
it's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so and that was based on the Airbnb income that we were getting. So a lot of different things came into play, but it just didn't make sense. But I'm sure there are properties where it does make sense. It's worth looking into.
Well, I was thinking of 100 North. We could pre-sell that.
Oh yeah.
You know. So we own a property together that we can't sell. Nobody wants to buy it, despite what everybody thinks.
And the tenant's paying way below.
Tenants way below. Haven't jacked it up.
Yeah, and why is that? Because we
They
bought
got a lease.
We bought that building. There was a lease.
They're not gonna
So
mess
new
with-
property owners can't come in and just change
No.
the terms of the lease. We inherited that lease. We have to honor it.
That's right.
So, business owners are protected by the lease they signed that they negotiated. So you can't just jack up rent anytime you want.
It'd be cooler if you could.
Yeah, well.
But you can't. It's just not going to happen.
So yeah, I do see rates coming down a bit next year, but we still have a very
Next year, you think 2024?
I think so, because I think there's something that we're not talking about that is going to create some type of financial turmoil, which would have a positive effect on rates. So
Yeah.
people just
The
started
R-
making
the R word?
The R word. What's the R word?
Not Randy. Recession.
That's in my rearview mirror, man.
Oh, that's
We've been
already.
going
We're
through
already,
that.
we're
like,
already
yeah.
in it. Oh,
But I think like everyone's just started paying their student loans again for the first time in 3 years.
yeah.
That's going to be like the average student loan payment's an extra couple $150 a month. Like that's a lot, especially on top of everything else. We've got a war in Israel going on right now. Who knows how that's going to play out? Ukraine, everything else is going to come. There's going to be. We've got the commercial mortgage market that you kind of referenced that could be a potential problem for banks.
You're seeing a potential economic bomb.
I don't know if it's a bomb, but it's going to.
It ain't going to be a soft landing they're wanting.
I think that there's going to be something that's significant enough to where rates are going to have to drop to offset whatever risk.
It flips.
Yeah, it flips, and it may be a bomb, not a literal bomb, but it may be something significant, not like the housing crash because it won't be housing.
No.
But there'll be something that causes the markets to react in a very powerful way.
Well,
That's my
we'll
hunch.
see. Maybe we'll talk about that the next time you're here, along with
Self-directed IRAs.
Self-directed IRAs.
Dude, this is so good.
So listen,
we can't delay this anymore.
Yeah, we're through my predetermined time limit. So Jim and I sat here and did 2 episodes back to back. I absolutely love it. Having you as my guest. I think this entire season is going to be you.
What
do you think about that?
Bromance?
We're going to do a bromance. Well, we're brothers,
I
for
know,
real.
I guess it's not bromance.
So we forced to love each
But
other.
you're so busy and
Mom
so
said
important.
I had to love you.
Yeah, well, you're so busy and so important. It's like the only chance we get to actually talk. So I really enjoy it too.
Well, and then we get talking and we realize all the other crap we got to talk about. But so yeah, like we just knocked out 2 episodes, not too difficult, right? We got to knock out 10 more, 10 more. You in it?
I'm in it, man.
All right. So the entire season 2, this has just been divulged today. The whole discovery of what is going to be Jim and Randy. So there you go. The bros. Because I need a support because I keep getting beat up on social media and I want to cry. So Jim's here to hold my hand.
I got your back, bro.
He's here to hold my hand and wipe my tears. And we appreciate you, bro. So that's a wrap for episode 2 of season 2. Tune in next week. I think we're going to talk about self-directed IRAs. Not quite sure. It depends on what happens.
We should.
Depends on what happens between now and then. But tune in because it's going to be awesome. See ya.